The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated podcast. I am not your main host, Mr. Ezelina. I am his good buddy Regz. I am flying solo tonight. Our fearless leader, Mr. Azzy, is on vacation in Jamaica. I have touched base with him a few times. Let him know I was just going to run through this little solo pod, get some thoughts out on the Sixers and the Phillies, and things like that. He did want me to let everyone know that the drinking started very quickly. They got upgraded to first class on their way there, and he had a swift little bourbon at 9 a.m. And the particular day I was texting him, which I believe was Tuesday, his drink of choice was going to be some gin and club soda. And it's an all-inclusive, people. You got to take advantage and try and make that money back one way or another. But just wanted to jump on here very quickly and give my thoughts on a few Sixers things and a few Phillies things. So the Sixers had their draft. We'll get to that in a few minutes, and we'll talk about at least their first round pick. Azzy, I think, will have a lot to say about those things. So we'll wait till he gets back in our next episode to really deep dive into the Sixers picks. I just wanted to talk about some of the things that people are hearing, tweeting, saying on the radio, saying on podcasts about what the Sixers are going to do with this cap space. So right now, the Sixers have the most cap space in the NBA. And not a lot of people know what they're going to use it for. Obviously, Paul George has been put out there. The LeBron James thing is not happening. Bronny, if you didn't know, got drafted by the Lakers tonight. So that's not happening. They are not. LeBron James is not coming to Philadelphia. Talks of Jimmy Butler, Brandon Ingram, things like that. There have been rumors about, hey, does Paul George even want to leave Los Angeles and leave the Clippers? There's been rumors that, the interest from the Sixers side has been waning. Who really knows? We've been very clear on this podcast, about who we think they should get, who we want them to get, things like that. So what ultimately will they decide to do with this cap space? We've been pretty clear that Paul George, I think, would be great. He's obviously on the older side, but I think he brings the skill set that you're looking to have in a third guy here, and I think he could easily fill in that third guy role. I don't think he'd be pushing for more shots. I think they could distribute the ball well. I think all that would work out fine. I'm higher on Brandon Ingram than some other people might be. I feel like that guy just really needs to change the scenery to get out of the Zion circus, be a part of a contending team. And I really, we saw what he was capable of in his early years in the playoffs. I think that could come back. I really do. He's not the pure shooter, but with the guy they got in the draft the other day, you don't really need that as much anymore. I think Brandon Ingram would be good, and I like the age, and I like how it sets up. I do not want Jimmy Butler. I've made that very clear on the show. I just don't want him. I don't think he's going to be healthy. I'm out. I'm out on Jimmy Butler. But there are starting to be the kind of two camps. There's the one camp that says you have all this money, you need to go get a third superstar. You have to go do it. You have all this money, you have the leverage to go do it, so you have to go do it. There's another camp that's coming out that says use this space to fill the important role players on the team. Keep a large chunk of that money for next year, and then go get somebody, because the people that are available this year just aren't maybe gonna give you the kind of push that you need. But if you can fill the rest of your spots with the best player at that particular position or role, then you're building a team around Maxey and Embiid instead of just getting these guys in for maybe a year or two because you just have the money to spend. It's not a bad theory. I would like them to spend money for really good role players. I think that's what this team needs most, is guys who have certain elite skills, whether it be defensively, shooting, rebounding, things like that. I just think this team lacks guys who have top end skill sets. And again, just like, is Brandon Ingram putting the dial to 10 for me? No. Is PG putting the dial to 10 for me? No. So I don't think it's a bad theory. You just have to understand, what is your window with Joel Embiid and how many more shots at this do you really have? Now, you could argue that you're really doing this more so Maxey has a team around him as he ages, and as Embiid inevitably kind of ages out and either starts to get hurt too often, whatever it might be. So I like the idea. Can you convince Joel Embiid that this is the right move? Not my job, above my pay grade, obviously, but that's a really big thing. You're going to have to convince Joel that what you're doing is the right thing to do, and that brings the most success. Probably tough to argue if you go with we're just going to fill in a lot of these role players. It's tough. So it'll be very interesting to see what finally happens. A lot of people thought something in the draft might spur the Sixers for a trade. Nothing like that has happened so far. They've made both of their picks. Guys like Mikal Bridges got traded to the Knicks. OG Anunoby re-signed with the Knicks. The Knicks are now a very, very good team, and probably have replaced the Sixers as the third best team in the East, quite honestly. They're just younger and have more guys. They just do, until we see what this Sixers team turns into. So we'll see what happens. We'll see when the shoe finally drops what the final decision was. As of right, it's crazy, but we just don't know. We just don't know right now. We have no idea. Nothing has come to fruition. Wanted to just quickly give my thoughts on Jared McCain, their first round pick out of Duke. I can't admit to be an NBA draft expert. I can't admit to really knowing a ton about a lot of these guys. The kid shot 41% from three on about 6 attempts a game. The kid can shoot. He's on the smaller side, which is, a tough sell in today's NBA. But look, when you read some of the stats about him, he's on lists of guys like Steph Curry and other elite shooters from the college level. Never a bad thing to be included on lists like those, for sure. But can that translate to the NBA? Number one, is he tall enough to play next to, can he defend well enough to play next to Maxey, who's also a smaller guard? He doesn't possess elite quickness or athletic ability. The kid can just shoot. He's just a pure shooter. So where that can be very, NBA teams need shooting all the time and, will constantly for the rest of time. I think a lot of people put it well. If he was high on your board, which it seems that the Sixers had him in their top 10, and he possesses an elite skill, it's not a bad pick at 16. And I think that's a fair assessment of how that goes. I think that's a fair assessment of, how everything can go. So let's talk about the Phillies. I am very annoyed because it appears that Bryce Harper. Well, let's just talk about tonight. I'm annoyed. It's an annoying loss. They still have the best record in baseball. The Braves lost, luckily, so their lead stays the same. Some tough things from tonight. We just saw Bryce Harper limp off the field and grabbing the back of his hamstring. That is very, very not good. After he literally was just announced as the starter of the All-Star game. His first All-Star game as a Philly. That's not good. Kyle Schwarber left the game with groin tightness. He was playing left field tonight. He left the game with groin tightness. Spencer Turnbull has a lat strain and will be out for about 6 to 8 weeks. Again, very annoying. And Trey Turner is still maybe running at only 50 to 70%. He obviously doesn't have quite the confidence yet to be 100% on that hamstring. And now with Bryce potential, I don't even know what to say. This was a nightmare. Tonight was a nightmare for the Phillies. It was a nightmare. And of course, it was against the Marlins. Of course, we had a 3-0 lead. And of course, they put up a 7 spot on our bullpen in 3 innings. The Phillies bullpen is not spent. I'm trying to channel my inner Azzy here. My biggest concern is the injuries. My biggest concern is that now it appears that Bryce Harper has a hamstring injury, and it's not good. It's really, really not good. It looks exactly like the Marsh thing where he just pulled up and he's grabbing the back of his leg. None of it is good. A loss is a loss. They're going to happen. Against the Marlins, it's even more annoying because of how annoying that team has been to us in the past. We needed this game to end an inning earlier so that never happened to Bryce. And we all need to just cross our collective fingers and really hope that he's okay. And that he can, I don't know. It was going to be great to see him represent the Phillies finally in the All-Star game. He deserved it. He's playing like an MVP. And we just need him to be okay. We need him to be okay because the injury stuff is starting to pile up and it hasn't been a thing for this team. And I fear that it's all happening now while we have the best record in baseball. And my inner Phillies fan and Philadelphia sports fan dread is very slowly ticking higher and higher. Let's talk about a positive. The Phillies extended Christopher Sanchez for 4 years. I believe the total was about $22 million for cap's sake. 4 years, 22.5. About $5 million for average annual value for cap sense. I think I'll give you my thoughts quickly, and then as he sent me his thoughts, I think it's great. I think he has pitched to earn it. By all accounts, his representation came to the Phillies asking about this and wanting to do something like this. For who he is and how he's pitching right now, if he continues to develop the way he is, $5 million for a guy like that will be a steal. It will be an absolute steal if he continues to improve. That's what we can hope now. We basically bought out his arbitration years for not that much money, and if he keeps getting better and better, this is a home run. This is a grand slam. So let me give you Azzy's thoughts real quick, and then we'll let everybody go and pray that Bryce Harper's hamstring is okay. So very quickly, per Azzy, Sanchez's extension is fantastic. If he pitches like this, he'll be well above that amount in 4 years. Gives them a leg up in extension talks with Ranger and Hoff because Sanchez's number is determined. There are 2 option years in the deal, one for 14 and one for 15 million. Those are both team options. So the option years are a win because if he pitches like this, they'll be paying him way under market value at 14 and 15 million. And I completely agree. So let's hope that he continues to pitch like this. He continues to improve. He continues to get better. That Ranger extension is the next one everyone has their eyes on. He's obviously, had a weird 1 inning the other night, but still pitching fantastic. And we'll just see how it goes. So I know it was a quick one, running solo. I try not to blabble on too much. Just wanted to touch base with everybody real quickly. Give my thoughts on the Sixers stuff that's been going on in the Phillies. We'll be back next week when Azzy's back from vacation to have a full pod to react to everything that's been going on. So I hope everyone enjoys their night. Thank you as always for watching and listening. We are on YouTube. You can search, the Phixated pod will pop right up. You can click that big red subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. We're very close, so we're hoping that push can come soon. Find us wherever you find your podcast. Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, anywhere you find your podcast, just search the Phixated Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at BNB Pod. You can follow us on Twitter at the Phixated Pod. You can follow Azzy at the Mic Drop 5. You can follow me at Big Regz with a Z. So everyone, please enjoy your night. And good Lord, pray for Bryce Harper that his leg is okay. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, my God. to right field, way up there, and way out of here!
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.